All right, it is 7 p.m. We are going to get started. I just want to make sure everybody can see everything. Welcome. I know a lot of you all watch this after, and that's not a problem. As long as we are getting it done, that's all I want. And let's see. I think everybody can see everything. I know the people on YouTube can see everything. I think the people via my Zoom room can see everything. So let's roll. We're starting with question 95. A national retail chain negotiating a new store lease insists on a percentage lease structure with a relatively low base rent, plus a percentage of gross sales above a specified breakpoint. From the landlord's perspective, what is the primary advantage of this lease structure compared to a flat fixed rent lease? All right, so let's think about what we got here. I got to get my brain into real estate mode as well. We've got a new lease, and there's a percentage lease structure. You got a base rent plus a percentage of the gross sales. And from the landlord's perspective, what would be the advantage? All right, we got A. It guarantees the landlord a higher total rent than a fixed lease would provide, regardless of how the tenant's business performs. Well, that can't be true because if somebody decides to sell glow in the dark turtles, they're not going to make any money over that specified breakpoint. So, no, because this word guarantees is not what we're looking for here. B, it shifts all future maintenance and repair obligations for the property to the tenant automatically. No, we didn't say anything about maintenance or repair obligations in that negotiation, so that can't be right either. C, it allows the landlord's rental income to grow along with the tenant's sales performance rather than remaining fixed regardless of how successful the business becomes. Well, it could grow. Yeah, I mean, it does allow for the landlord's income to grow if the sales by the tenant grow. So if, somebody's selling something very popular, then yes, I guess that means there is going to be opportunity for that landlord to make more money. I like C, but let's see what D says. It eliminates the landlord's responsibility for property taxes and insurance on the leased space. Well, again, it's like B. Who said that? That's not what these negotiations said. So, no, that's not going to be our answer. So, our answer most definitely is C. This is a percentage lease. And remember, I'm always telling you all, use your study questions for their good, for their power. It's telling you what a percentage lease is here in the description or what the question is asking. So there's that. All right. 96. And I see whoever's in my Zoom room, you said C, just says iPhone. I don't know who it is, but good job. Ooh, 96. We're doing some math. I don't know if I'm excited about math, but I'm going to pretend like I am. A seller wants to net exactly $310,000 after paying a 6% commission and a $2,500 attorney fee at closing with no other deductions or existing mortgage. What minimum sales price? Oh, hey, Stacy. What minimum sales price must the home sell for to achieve this net amount? So we're looking for a minimum sales price or a net to seller. I think it was last week. I assumed that's what we were looking for, but that wasn't that one of those problems. This is what I thought we were doing. So we want to know what amount do we charge? Do we have the seller set the price so they have enough money to pay everything? We're collecting monies and we need to know what's the minimum we need to collect so we are in the clear. So this seller wants to make $310,000 net. That means when they walk away, they want to walk away with $310,000 in their pocket or their bank account, they PayPal, whatever. But they can't sell the house for just 310. They also need to pay the $2,500 attorney fee, right? And there's a 6% commission. And all of that would cover 100%. of their needs. So we can't just do 310. We'd have to do the 310 plus the 2500 plus the 6%. So if I were to add the 310 and the 2500, that would give me $312,500. And then you'd have the 6%, and that would give you 100% of your needs. Well, if 100% is our total and 6% is part of it, doesn't that mean that right here, that's got to be 94%? If I take 100% and I subtract out 6%, that gives me 94%. So that means that $312,500 is equal to 94% of some larger number. This is a big number or a bigger number. So how do I set that up? I would just say 312,500 divided by 94%. And that should give me handy dandy calculator 500 divided by 94%. I got 332,446.80. That's 332,446.80. That's my final answer. And I love it when a plan comes together. That is what the answer is here too. Hey, and Stacy, I see you getting these answers right, my darling. I see you getting these right. I love it. I'm so proud of you. Okay, ooh, more math. I guess we'll probably have 3 or 4, maybe 5 math problems in a row. That's what we've been noticing with this set of questions. A commercial property sale, and I'll change colors just so it's easier. A commercial property sale closes on April 10th, with the buyer taking ownership on the day of closing. That is important. The buyer's responsible for things that happen on the day of closing. Using a 360-day banker's year, 12 months of 30 days each, and annual property taxes of $10,800. How much of the tax bill is the seller responsible for, covering January 1st through April 9th? You know, I like to draw a little timeline here because that tax bill, that entire tax bill for 1 year, whoever owns the house, they're going to need to pay $10,800. But we've got two owners. You've got a seller who owns the house from like here to there, and then you've got a buyer who owns the house from like here to here. So we know this would be the seller, and that would be from 1/1 through 4/9. And then you got this buyer who owns the house through 4/10 through 12/30, right? Eventually, that tax bill will probably be paid by the buyer. And it's not fair if that buyer has to pay the whole bill. So we need to know how many days this is. Well, you got 30 days in January, 28. Oh, we're doing a 360-day year. So boop, boop, boop. That's going to be 30 days in February, 30 days in March. And then in April, you just have till the 9th. So 9 days in April. Because it said the buyer's responsible for the day of closing. If I add all that together, I get 99 days. And that just makes me think of a song. 99 days, 99 problems. So this seller has 99 days of problems they need to pay for. So if it's 1080 or 10,800 for the year, I'll divide that by 360. 10,800 divided by 360 gives me $30 a day. So I'm going to take $30 a day, multiply it by our 99 days. And that's going to give me an answer of 30 times 99. I got $2,970. That would be a seller debit for that amount and a buyer credit for that amount. So it is our answer here of B. B is our answer. And if you're wondering, well, what happened to the rest of this? What about this orange period right here? The buyer's not paying that today. So we aren't collecting that money today. We'll let the buyer worry about that later. That's not our problem. Our name is Bennett. We ain't in it for right now. Not us. So good job. If you got that right, which I see you did, Miss Stacy. Good job. 98. A buyer is purchasing a home for $295,000 with a 10% down payment. Closing costs total $6,200, and the buyer has already paid a $1,500 earnest money deposit credited towards closing and is receiving a $2,000 seller paid closing cost credit. How much cash must the buyer bring to closing? For this, I'm going to make two sections. I'm going to make a section that's buyer debits, and I'm going to make a section that is buyer credits. So all those numbers that are in the problem need to go either in a debit or credit a column. So let's go through. We know first we've got this sales price. The sales price is money that the seller owes. So that's going to be sales price $295,000. That's a money the seller owes. It's not money that's going to the buyer, so it's not a buyer credit. Done. And there's a 10% down payment. Well, yes, that's money the buyer has to bring. But the way we're going to do this, and if you're ever doing a CD, you're not going to see the down payment as an entry. You're going to be figuring out when you do a CD or something like this, hey, if the buyer needs to bring the sales price, but they're getting a loan. What I'm calculating is between the down payment and everything else, how much does this buyer need to bring? So I'm going to take that 10% and find 295 times 90%. That would be a loan. So 295 times 90%. That means there's a loan for $265,500. Because what we're going to do is total up everything the buyer owes. Then we're going to total up all the monies this buyer's getting credited. And the difference will be the down payment plus anything extra they need to bring, or if we reduce their down payment by some way. I don't know. Hopefully it'll make sense when we finish. We got closing costs that total $6,200. We did that. $6,200 closing costs, $6,200. And the buyer's already paid $1,500 earnest money deposit. Okay. Earnest money deposit. And they're receiving $2,000 seller paid closing cost credit. Okay. So, and I put that in the wrong place, didn't I? Boop. See, that's why you have to write everything down. Those closing costs should be over here. It's money that this buyer owes. So I should have put the $6,200 in closing costs over here. And then they're getting a credit from seller of 2,000. So let me make sure I got everything. We got the 295, we got the loan, we got that they owe 6,200. I put that in the wrong place too. Boop, 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 boop. The EMD is a credit. That should be $1,500 over there. Hello, Candace, pay attention. We got the $1,500 because that's a credit. That is a credit. And they're getting a seller paid closing cost credit. So yes, I think we're good now. Hey, we all make mistakes. Hello, Miss Bestie. I swear I'm alive. I had 4 birthdays in the last 2 weeks. Craziness. I finished what you saw I recorded and posted earlier today. A new video's up, y'all. So I was going to give you a call tomorrow, but I'm alive. So let's make sure we got the sales price. One more time as a check. Sales price is a buyer debit. Loan is going to be a buyer credit. Closing cost is a buyer debit. The $1,500 earnest money is a credit. We got it on the credit. They're receiving a $2,000 credit for here. Boom. Now we can add these up each side. So we got the 295 plus the 6,200. That gives me 301,200. That is your total of buyer debits. All together, that is what this buyer owes. Now, this person did not have $295,000 in a bank account, so they had to take a loan. So, between the loan and the other monies that came back to them, how much do they owe? So, I'm going to do the 265,500, right? Plus the 2,000 plus the 1,500. I got 269. Now, you all know you should always check up on my math because I'm good to put something in the wrong place, as we witnessed earlier. So, the difference between 301, 200, and the 269 should give us what we owe. So, I got $32,200. That represents the down payment plus any extra costs, if there are any. So 32,200, that's what we got for an answer right here of C. Now let me just double check that is correct. That's number 98. Let's see. Did I do this math correctly? Did I math? Hey, the answer C. Oh, you've been interviewing brokers. I'm proud of you for interviewing brokers. I'm proud of me for getting that math problem right. And I'm proud of all of you all for keeping at this. Yes, yes, I love it. And if nothing else, remember, nobody's expecting you to get this math right the first time, all the time. It's okay to make mistakes. You just have to set up your math to make sure you've got a way to, correct or find the errors. You noticed I went through and triple checked once I made a mistake. So it's okay if you need to do that. Nobody does all the math perfect. And if they do, bully for them. They're not taking the test for you. So let them be happy. All right, 99. Okay, yep, we got two of these left. An appraiser is using the cost approach to value a unique custom built home. The appraiser estimates replacement cost new at $480,000. The land value is worth $95,000 and accrued depreciation is $60,000. What was the indicated value of the property using the cost approach? Well, when you have a piece of land with a house on it, you got the value of the land and then you got the value of the house. You got to add those two things together. So let's take the 480 plus the 95,000. Some people could do that in their heads, and again, bully for them. I put it in my calculator, 480,000 plus 95,000. That is $575,000. That's the total value if the property was new. Because remember, in the cost approach, they figure we don't have good comps. Let's figure out how much it would cost to rebuild, plus we got to buy the land. And then, since this property isn't new, let's depreciate it. It's like having a used car and taking it to CarMax or, whatever. It's not new. Or when you turn in your cell phone, they're like, what's the condition? It's not new. They take money off of the value. So, yeah, 575 is the total value if it was new, but that's not where we're stopping. So, ixnay. Right? We can get rid of B. We got to subtract out the depreciation, which they said is 60,000. So that one I can do 1. That's 515,000. In my head, that is the current value if you're using the cost approach. And that is our answer, C. Right? So again, if you're in California, you might not have to do the math, but you do need to understand the concept that we had to take the replacement cost new plus the land value and then subtract out the depreciation. You could have had a non-math question that asked you that. So, boom, if you got that right, I'm proud of you. And our last math problem in this little section, a triangular lot has a base of 220 feet along the street. Okay, I already know I need to write this out. So there's a base and it's triangled. And you know, anytime in this class you have math to do this way, it's a right triangle. And it's telling you the street is here and that this is 220 feet along its frontage. And then going back, its depth is 150 feet. Perpendicular to the base, to the back of the rear property line. If the land is priced at $4.50 per square feet, what's the total price of the lot? So we know with a triangle, if we take the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle and divide that by 2, we'll get the area. All right, so the base times the height divided by, not times, boop, boop, divided by 2. So the base was 220 feet. The height was 150. And then we need to divide by 2. Let's see what happens when I put that in my calculator. That would be 220 times 150 divided by 2. I got 16,500 feet. Now, before we go any further, that's square feet. Imagine there was a rectangle that was finishing this thing. All right. So if you took length times width, you would get area. But since we're talking about half of that rectangle, to find the triangle, we're dividing it by 2. That's why we do that step, just in case you didn't know. So now that we got 16,500 square feet, I'm going to take that 16,500 and multiply it by $4.50. That's going to give me, $4.50. Okay, let's see what we got. We got $74,250. Final answer. Do we have an answer that matches that? I don't know. You know, I'm always curious to see if I'm going to get this math right too. I got A. Stacy got A. I don't know if anybody else out there got A, but we got A. And it looks like, according to my answer sheet, A is the right answer. Go me. Go me. Go you. Yes, I like it. Okay. Now we can get to our regular type questions. A retail tenant installs a custom display shelving and specialized refrigeration units in a leased space for her business, bolting them to the walls and the floor. Ooh, I see you got that right as well. A just popped up. I know there's a little bit of a delay. So, a retail tenant installs custom display shelving and specialized refrigeration units in a leased space for her business, bolting them to the walls and floor. At the end of the lease, can the tenant remove these items? You've got a retail tenant installing something. So it's not a regular fixture. What do we call this fixture? When it's somebody in commercial has a fixture. What do we call these types of fixtures? Now, I'm not going to say, but I'm going to give you all a chance if you want to type it. I see that one person is giving. There we go, Miss Stacy. Now, I do see it faster because Miss Stacy is in the room with me, but she said it's a trade fixture. So we know if it's a trade fixture, generally, and I'm saying generally because, you know, every state does something a little bit differently, but generally, trade fixtures, not residential, if you're the tenant and you install something so that you can do business, then you get to take that fixture with you before you leave. You just can't leave the place in a shambles. Shouldn't be holes in the wall or the floors or something like that. So let's see if we can find something that talks about trade fixtures in our answer choices. So, can the tenant remove these items? Well, we already know the answer is yes because we know it's a trade fixture. Let's get rid of A and let's get rid of C. What? Hey, we already know. We know that the answer is yes. But is it B? Yes, but only if the landlord is compensated for the full replacement value of the removed items. I don't like that. Why is he being compensated? The tenant installed it, which means the tenant paid out of pocket. Absolutely not. Do we like D? Yes, because the items installed by a commercial tenant for trade or business purposes are generally considered trade fixtures. There's our word. Oh, I didn't mean to cross that out. Boop. There's our word, which the tenant may remove before the lease ends, provided she repairs any resulting damage. Yes, our answer is D. How much is that doggy in the window? Ah, there's always a song in my head. Something wrong with my head. But yes, this answer is D. D for doggy. Who let the dogs out? Okay, let's roll on. 102. A single individual purchases an investment property entirely in her own name, girl power, with no co-owners of any kind. What is this form of ownership called? Is it A, tenancy in common, since she could add co-owners at any time in the future? B, community property, since all property acquired during marriage is automatically co-owned? C, an ownership in severalty, meaning ownership by one person alone, or D, joint tenancy, since sole owners automatically hold a right of survivorship. What say you? What do you thinking the answer is? Well, I know it's not joint tenancy because no, that's not how any of this works, right? We know it's not community property. Again, just no, because that's co ownership. We know it's not tenancy in common. Our only answer that works is ownership and severalty, because that means one person alone. Nice. Oh, I see you. I look and I see you there, ma'am, asking for a song. I didn't even pull up my song stuff for us to play. Let's see what songs we have for C. Since you gave me a cookie, I got.
C is for cookie. That's good enough for me.
And I think you could hear that. Did I share my sound? Did I share my sound? I did. You could hear C is for cookie. Never too late in the day for a cookie. Let's do 103. A subdivision's recorded deed restriction boop pop pop. That's it's my song to you today, I guess. A subdivision's recorded deed restrictions limit lots. Yeah, that's a weird sentence. A subdivision's recorded deed restrictions limit lots to single family use only. But the local municipality later rezones the area to allow duplexes. A lot owner wants to build a duplex, relying on the new zoning. Can she proceed? So we've got a classic versus here. You got a private restriction versus a public restriction. And we're asking who wins this war? And whenever you see this, I want you to remember the sentence: the most restrictive restriction restricts. The most restrictive restriction restricts. So it's like dealing with mom and dad. Hopefully, all of y'all, if you had two people in your life that was raising you, it could be mom, it could be dad, it could be grandma, granddad, grandma, dad. I don't know. But if you don't want to get in trouble with one of those people, you need to follow the most restrictive of whatever somebody said. So in this case, even though the municipality said, oh, you can have duplexes, the recorded deed restriction said, no, no, single family residences only. We got to follow that. So, knowing that the most restrictive restriction restricts, we're going to find that answer. It's got to be that, hey, they can only put in a single family residence. Let's see. Can she proceed? She wants to build a duplex. The answer is no. So, no, not without addressing the private deed restriction separately, since zoning changes do not automatically override privately recorded restrictive covenants. Or no, because zoning changes are always invalid if they conflict with existing deed restrictions. They're both no's. We know it's not C or D. We could eliminate these. But one of those is wrong. Do zoning changes always invalidate if they conflict? No. Mm-mm-mm. Nope. Our answer is A. You're going to have to figure out this whole private deed restriction thing. I mean, that's a problem. Our answer is A. Right, let's roll on to 104. Oh, and Stacy, I see you with the A there. I see you with the A. A connector obtains a court judgment against a connector. Did I say connector? Sure, why not? Or contractor. A contractor obtains a court judgment against a homeowner for unpaid work. Ooh, that sounds like a mechanic's lien. I haven't even gotten very far, but I'm sensing mechanic's lien. Now, if I was teaching a class, I might stop right here and go to you and say to you all, what do you know? What do you know about mechanics liens? Not going to do it right now. We'll talk about that in a second, but I recognize that's a mechanics lien. So, a contractor obtains a court judgment against a homeowner for unpaid work and properly records the judgment lien in the county where the homeowner property is located. Okay, well, when I finish this, they got a court judgment and a judgment lien. So, it's not a mechanics lien. Remember, there are two types of liens there are specific liens, and that is against a piece of real property. Or you have what is the word I'm looking for? There's specific liens or there's general liens where you got to go to court and they're against a person and everything they may own. So it just said it's a court judgment. I thought mechanics lien, and that's okay, but they said it's a judgment lien. I know a mechanics lien is a specific lien and it would follow the house. But they said they got a judgment lien. So, okay, something different. The homeowner later tries to sell the property. What typically must happen before a clear title can pass to a buyer? Well, I don't like this question. I don't like how it's written because it said it's a judgment lien, and a judgment lien usually attaches to the person. Now, in my defense, two things. AI wrote this question. It's not going to be perfect. B, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in some states, mechanics liens are specific. I'm just confused, but that's okay because you could get on the test and be confused as well. Heck, when I go to take my Michigan test, which I really need to do, I keep telling y'all I'm going to do this. It has literally been a year since I've been saying, y'all, I'm going to take this test. I haven't done it. I'm a slacker. So if you are somebody who's like, I've just been pushing off taking this test, you're in good company. We all need to do better. But let's see what we got here. Let's see if we can eliminate any answer choices and take a wild guess because I'm wild guessing with you on this one too. So, what do we have? If we want to clear title, we want clear title to pass to the buyer. The buyer automatically assumes personal responsibility for the judgment debt upon purchasing the property. I mean, it says it's a judgment debt. I can't think that's right. I got to eliminate A for right now. I feel like, why would I be taking on your judgment liens? Maybe you're selling the property because you owe money to somebody. Why would I take on your judgment liens? That doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to eliminate A right now. B, the judgment lien must be paid off or otherwise satisfied and released before the property can be conveyed with clear title. I don't hate that. Don't hate that one. C, nothing. Judgment liens automatically transfer with the property to the new buyer without affecting the sale. No, that would be specific liens. That I don't like that. And then D, the homeowner can simply wait 90 days for the judgment lien to expire before selling. Ah, nope. I wish. I'm sure there are people with debts. They're like, "Ooh, if I just wait 90 days, they'll go away." That's absolutely not true. So, by elimination, even though we're not sure, it's saying the judgment lien must be paid off or otherwise satisfied and released before the property can be conveyed with clear title. Boom. I'm not an attorney. Maybe I'm missing some nuance here, but I know the other three answers are wrong. So I feel confident in my answer of B. And when I look at the answer choices that AI gave me, this is number 104. I have to scroll Yeah, says the answer is B. So once again, we got it right. I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. Won't my mama be so proud of me? I'm proud of me. I mean, I'm sure my mother is proud of me as well because, hello, we already know my dad is. But yes, we got it right. So hard being the favorite child, but somehow I manage. 105. A title search reveals a possible defect from a prior owner, two links back in the chain of title. That it's hard being the favorite child. She said, I'm with you on that. It's hard being the favorite child. And hello, Marillion. I see you with the B. I see you. I got you. A title search reveals a possible defect from a prior owner, two links back in the chain of title, who may not have properly who may not have properly signed a deed. Tongue getting away with itself. Take a sip of water and slow down. Mhm. And I will tell you all personally, when I'm taking these, when I take these tests and practice exams, I got to slow myself down. I'm always telling you all, slow down, take your time. I'm talking to myself as well. I'm reading the questions so fast to you all, I can't even get through them. I need to slow down. You need to slow down. We all got to take a chill pill. So let's start over again. A title search reveals a possible defect from a prior owner, two links back in the chain of title, who may not have properly signed a deed. The current owner wants to clear this potential issue and asks that prior owner still living to sign a new deed, simply releasing whatever interest, if any, they might still hold. What type of deed is most appropriate for this purpose? So I'm assuming what they're asking is that the current owner wants to clear this potential issue and asks that the prior owner still living sign a new deed that simply releases whatever interest, if any, they might still hold. So this is what we're looking at. Could you release any interest that you might still hold? What type of deed is that? Is it a general warranty deed, since it provides the strongest assurance of clear title? B, a quitclaim deed, since it conveys whatever interest the signer currently has, if any, without making any representations about the validity of that interest. C, a special warranty deed, since it limits warranties to the signer's own period of ownership. Or D, a deed of trust, since it's used to secure the transaction with a lender. Well, I know I can eliminate D because who said anything about lending? Is it a general warranty deed, a quitclaim deed, or a special warranty deed? This is one of those things where you just know what you know. And a general warranty deed means there'd have to be good assurance of title. Hey, I'll fix it. Look, the seller, the current owner doesn't need to go back and give. No. What we're looking for here is a quitclaim deed, and you'll see it. It says, hey, I'll give you whatever interest I have. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what I got. I don't know if I don't or I do. But if I do, I'm hot potatoing it. Is that a word? Potatoing? I'm hot potatoing it over to you. It's now yours. Whatever I've got is yours. That means our answer, in fact, is B, a quitclaim deed. Yay. 106. Buyer A purchases a property and, due to an oversight, does not record the deed for 3 months. That's okay. In general, do deeds have to be recorded to be valid? No. Should you record a deed? Yes. Do you have to record a deed? No. But if you want the protection from the law, if you want the whole world to know that's your property, you need to record it and give constructive notice. So during that 3 month period, during that window, the same seller fraudulently sells the same property to buyer B, who has no knowledge of the earlier sale to buyer A and promptly records her deed. In a race notice recording jurisdiction, Who generally prevails? Well, we got to talk about this race notice recording jurisdiction. I will say that I started in North Carolina, and North Carolina is a race notice recording jurisdiction, or it's a race to the courthouse. We don't care who's living there, who recorded first in story. In other states, they go, oh, who's living there? Let's look at some of the other details. North Carolina and other true race notice states, they're like, who recorded first? We don't want, everybody's got a story. We don't care about your story. Whose deed was recorded first? They get the power of the law behind them. And in this case, I mean, if person B promptly recorded her deed, that's her house because it's a race notice recording jurisdiction. For other states, if you're not in North Carolina, you need to look up and see what your state is. So, is it A, buyer A, because being first in time to purchase always controls, regardless of recording? Absolutely not. Is it B, neither buyer has a valid claim since the seller's fraud voids both transactions automatically? You know how I feel about this word automatically. That's a no. And plus, it's not true. C, buyer B, because she recorded first, had no actual or constructive notice of earlier unrecorded conveyance of A. I like that. Or buyer B, but only if she also personally investigated the seller's background before purchasing. It's not D. Our answer, and I'm sick of yellow. Let's go to blue. It's C. It is C. And yes, earlier C did stand for cookie. C did stand for cookie earlier, but I feel like I haven't heard this song in a while.
I like carrots, and you should too. It goes crunch, 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 and it's good for you.
We like carrots.
And you should too. It goes
Crunch, crunch, crunch. Hey, we like that. That is our answer. It is B because she promptly recorded her deed. Nice. All right, 107. A property manager's, and if y'all have questions, you know you can ask them. If you need help with a thing, ask me if you got a question. A property manager's written management agreement authorizes her to approve routine repairs up to $500 without owner approval. She hires a contractor for a $4,000 roof repair without contacting the owner first, believing it is urgent. Is the owner bound to pay the contractor? There's a lot going on here. Now, the property manager had an agreement where she could do routines up to $500. So is that contractor, is that property manager in the wrong? Absolutely. But the work was done. The repair was done to the property. So does that contractor have the right to be like, look, I don't care who pays me, but somebody needs to pay me for this gosh darn roof repair. So who's going to be responsible? Is it the owner? Is it the property manager? Now, in real life, I'm going to tell you to A, if you're the property manager, don't do this. B, if you're the owner or the property manager, one of y'all needs to call an attorney. And of course, C, they're still asking us this question on the exam. So let's talk about it and figure out where we want to go with an answer. But it was done and it was urgent. I know. That's what you said. It's done and it was urgent. So if it was done, how, if you're the person that did it, do you charge I mean, it's okay. The contract said $500. Urgent is urgent, but you said you were going to contact them. So let's see our options here. The owner may not be bound by the excess authority, though the property manager could face personal liability to the contractor and to the owner for exceeding her authorized limit. I feel like the owner would be bound. I think the owner's going to be bound because the work was done to the property. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. So I'm going to say no to A. B, the owner is automatically bound to pay in full since any action by an agent within the scope of the agency binds the principal. I like that. Should that person have called? Yes. but that is an agent who overstepped, right? And I see what you said there, Miss Valerie. You said, I guess I'm confused because if it was so urgent, why did the property manager why did the property manager not contact the owner? You're thinking too deep into it. Yes, you're using what I like to lovingly call common sense and logic. The property manager 100% should have contacted that owner, but they didn't. And they made a phone call to that contractor who, in good faith, said, "Oh, you're an agent of the seller? Cool. I guess you have the authority to do this." The work was done to a piece of real property. So I think that owner is bound, but the owner could probably sue the manager or fire them or do whatever. It was urgent, but you still are supposed to do what you said, and the work was still done to the property. So far I like B, but let's see what we got. C, the property manager is fully protected from liability as long as she believed the repair was an emergency. That's not what the contract said. The contract didn't say you're approved to do routine repairs up to $500 without owner approval, unless it's urgent. In fact, it says routine repairs. I don't know if an urgent roof repair is routine. I think they're out of their bounds of this contract. Right. And then D, the contractor has no recourse at all since unauthorized contracts are always completely void and unenforceable against anyone. No, that's not true. Y'all, that's why we spend so much time in our classes talking about agency. You may not be going into property management, but you are an agent of the client. Property management, sales. When you make decisions holding yourself out to be like, "Oh, I'm the agent of this client," then legally, yeah, you could get your client bound to something that they didn't necessarily want. So we want to be careful with it. You said you're okay with thinking the no common sense, so you're going to say B. And yes, it is B for butterfly. Ooh, this is where I should be like, butterfly in the sky. I can fly twice as high. Oh, I love reading Rainbow. Yay. Now I want to watch that show, right? Oh, and hopefully, Bestie, you did see A Different World. The new season or the reboot is coming out. So there'll be a watch party. I think you should come to Michigan and watch it. That's a whole different conversation. But all of you all are welcome to talk to me about it. A Different World, I'll be all over it. And I'm hoping that you all are watching Reacher as well because studying is great. Reacher is better. 108. After learning that her property manager exceeded the the authorized $500 repair limit. Ooh, this is a continuation. Dun, dun, dun. After learning that her property manager exceeded the authorized $500 repair limit by approving a $4,000 roof repair without prior approval, the owner reviews the completed work, is satisfied with it, and pays the contractor's invoice in full without objection. What is the legal effect of the owner's actions? Again, do I feel this is more in the attorney realm? Go get a law degree? Yes. But could they ask us about basic vocab terms, legal vocab terms? Also, yes. Do I think all of you all are going to see this? Probably not. In fact, I think maybe 10% of the people taking a real estate exam might see it. I wouldn't say you're definitely going to see it, but if it does pop up, I want you to feel confident in, "Oh, I remember that question. Candace went over it. We talked about it that one time." And that's usually your gut when you're in these situations like, "Did we learn this?" Go with your gut because it could have been you just heard the question once. All right. So, what's the legal effect when this owner paid for everything? Is it the property manager remains personally liable to the contractor regardless of the owner's later payment? Well, no. The contractor got paid. You don't get double payment here, sir. That's not how any of this works. I wish. I mean, do I wish? I don't know if I wish it, but you get it. Is it B? The owner has likely ratified, there's the key word though, ratified the property manager's unauthorized act, retroactively making it binding as though it had been authorized from the start. I like that one because I like that ratified word. C, Nothing changes legally since ratification cannot occur after an unauthorized act has already been completed. No, that's not true. Or D, the owner has waived all future rights to enforce any terms of them. No, we didn't just basically nullify the whole contract. So our answer, of course, is B. Now, as much as I want to say call an attorney for things like this, the fact is some of you all may go into property management and you need to understand the seriousness and the legalities that are going on. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to get a college degree to get a real estate license, so you may not get some law classes, but you are still going to be put in these situations where the law becomes really important, and it is important for us to understand what it is exactly we're getting into. Because as the property manager, I don't want to see you get sued. Right? All right, let's try 109. A buyer, oh, scroll that up a little bit there. A buyer under a signed purchase contract for a vacant lot decides before closing to assign her rights under the contract to an investor for a fee, with the seller's contract silent on whether assignment is permitted. Can the buyer generally do this? So we know assignment means to, if you're given an assignment, it's something you're going to go do. And generally, contracts can be assigned. It's like subletting. If you're the tenant, unless your lease says no subletting, then sublet away. If somebody wants to make sure a contract cannot be assigned, they need to make sure in the contract it says no assignment. If it's silent, then that means that buyer can do what they want. So let's find the answer that matches that. Is it A, yes, but only if the seller receives none of the assignment paid by the investor? I mean, as the buyer, I guess that'd be great, but that's not how this works. B, no, because assigning a contract automatically voids the seller's original obligations to perform. There's that automatically word again. Is it always wrong? No. Is it maybe wrong? Yes, very possibly. So you should look at it and look very skeptically at that automatically. It's like I know some teachers will tell people, just if you don't know the answer, go with the longest answer choice. It's not the worst advice I've ever heard, like saying just choose C. I mean, it's probably better than just choose C, but I have definitely seen questions where the longest answer was just a bunch of BS and they're trying to get you to guess it. Just try to eliminate choices as best you can. And then if all else fails, I guess choose the longest one, but I prefer you eliminate. So it's not A, it's not B. How about C? Yes, contract rights are generally assignable unless the contract specifically prohibits the assignment or the assignment would materially change the seller's obligations. It was silent. I like C. Let's see what we got for D. No, because real estate purchase contracts can never be assigned to a third party under any circumstances. It's that never word. It's such an absolute. And I don't like it because that would be wholesaling. In some areas, now wholesaling is a whole thing. And when I say wholesaling, it's like tomato, tomato. There are different ways to quote unquote wholesale. And that what they're talking about can be considered wholesaling. And I know that happens legally. So the answer is not D. That means our answer, and I think I want purple. I just want purple. I'm feeling purpley. Give me a second. Let's find purple. Boom. There we go. Contract rights are generally assignable. C is our answer. Under the sea. Under the sea. All right. Let's move on to 110. A real estate investor sends letters to homeowners in a stable, racially diverse neighborhood claiming that property values are about to plummet because of an influx of a particular ethnic group moving in. I hope this investor never has a cool pillow at night. I hope every time they go to buy eggs, their eggs fall to the floor and every single one gets cracked. I hope that all of the bad karma things happen to them because this is discrimination. I got nothing for it. And I should probably be a bigger person and be like, oh, let's forgive them. No, that is discrimination. Property values are going to plummet because of an influx of a particular ethnic group is moving in. You know, it needs to plummet your business, sir. Boo. Did I get a little passionate about that? Yes, I did. Oh, well. So, urging residents to sell quickly before it's too late. What violation does this describe? I know what we're talking about is panic peddling, otherwise known as blockbusting. And that is illegal and bad karma. And something, I hope you stub your baby toe on all sorts of furniture when you got no socks or shoes on, sir or madam. But is it blockbusting? Hey, I just said that. A Fair Housing Act violation inducing the panic sales by suggesting a change in the neighborhood's racial or ethnic composition. Yup. Right? We know it's not steering because steering is where you're directing people where they should live, usually buyers. Think about putting buyers into the car. It is a violation. Eh. Or redlining, since letters reference property values and a specific value. Well, remember, redlining is when lenders say, we don't make loans over there because of the makeup of that neighborhood. Redlining, steering, blockbusting are all very, very wrong. But in this particular question, they're describing blockbusting or panic peddling, which we know is illegal. Yep, Valerie, I don't care for them at all either. What other bad things that could happen to them? I hope they get a needle stuck in their eye. That's very not nice of me. It just isn't. But so are there's people who do these things aren't nice people. It's Sunday. I should probably be a better person. I hope if they're a woman, their favorite bra gets discontinued without notice. And if you're not a woman, you have no idea how terrible that comment is. And every single period, you leak through everything. I mean, sorry guys, if you're a guy, I don't know what to tell you, but the women here understand how mean that comment is that I just made. It's just, ooh, that's just the worst on their expensive sheets and white jeans. Okay, pull it together, Candace. It's just a fake question. I have issues. Number 111. Really? Thank you for laughing at me. It was just a bad person, bad investor. A buyer is comparing two loan options for the same, a splinter and a pinky toe they can't get out. That's good too, Valerie. That's good. Voodoo doll for that person. A buyer is comparing two loan options for the same home purchase. An FHA loan requiring mortgage insurance premiums for most of the loan term, regardless of equity, versus a conventional loan where the private mortgage insurance automatically terminates once the loan balance reaches 78% of the original property value. What is the key practical difference driving this comparison? Well, both of them have mortgage insurance premiums, right? So in the FHA loan, the mortgage insurance premium is for the loan, basically the whole loan term. Versus the conventional loan, you can get rid of it at 78%. They must get rid of it at 78%. So what we're comparing, they didn't give us any other information, is all about the PMI or the MIP, private mortgage insurance, if it is a conventional loan, and it's MIP, a mortgage insurance premium, if it's FHA. So let's see. Is it A, conventional PMI can never be canceled early, even after the loan to value threshold is reached? Well, that's not true. That's not true. Let's see. Is it B? I should mark that off. There is no meaningful difference. Both types of mortgage insurance terminate under identical rules regardless of loan type. No. Remember, and this is key for you really doing this. In an FHA loan, you're pretty much going to pay that PMI, or sorry, the MIP forever. That's a lot of money. MIP is expensive. Right? Is it C? FHA insurance always costs less than conventional PMI, regardless of the borrower's credit profile or down payment. I don't like that always, especially your credit and your no down payment. Like you could be paying some more money there, buddy. I don't know. That's a maybe. Let's see what D says. FHA mortgage insurance premiums are generally much harder to eliminate than conventional PMI. True. Which has a legally mandated termination point tied to loan to value. Also true. At 78% in a conventional loan, the bank must make it go away. So I like D, not C. D is our answer for 111. Ah, and we have another one. You said, nope, a woman in a wide bra and a wire sticks them all day and makes them uncomfortable. Yeah, Valerie, we're still bitter about 110, but that person was a bad person. I hope all their food they get from fast food restaurants is cold, especially their fries. All right, 112. A borrower with strong credit and a stable income is offered a loan with an unusually high interest rate, a large prepayment penalty, and loan terms that are not clearly explained, despite qualifying significantly better for conventional loan terms elsewhere. What practice does this scenario most likely illustrate? This is a big leap. So I'm guessing this question is going to be talking about vocab words. What could possibly happen here? So, could we be looking at predatory lending, in which a lender imposes unfavorable, excessive terms on a borrower who does not need or qualify for such terms? Well, no, this person did qualify at other banks. That's the problem. Predatory lending is an issue, but not in this question. B, RESPA disclosure compliance, since all loan terms were technically included somewhere in the paperwork. I mean, I, RESPA does require stuff be told, but so does TRID slash TILA. I'm not really feeling. I mean, I don't feel like it's RESPA. C, a legitimate risk-based pricing model that accurately reflects its borrower's low credit worthiness. But they didn't have low credit worthiness. Or D, standard subprime lending, which is always appropriate and expected for any borrower require. Okay, I don't like any of these answers. Well, let's roll back the die. This person had strong credit and stable income, and they're offered a loan with unusually high interest rate and loan terms that are not clearly explained, despite qualifying for significantly better conventional loan terms. What practices is significant? Okay, predatory lending. I mean, I guess I could maybe say this person doesn't need or they are overqualified for such terms. Maybe because one of these answers has to be right. I didn't like any of them. I'll put a maybe on A. And okay, let's look at B. RESPA disclosure compliance. All loan terms were technically included somewhere in the paperwork. I just don't feel like RESPA has anything to do with this. And it doesn't say anything. Well, it does say that the terms are not clearly explained, but that would be more like TILA. So I don't think it's going to be B. I think I'm feel strong that it's not B. Okay. C, a legitimate risk-based pricing model that accurately reflects a specific borrower's low credit. We can't be C because they didn't have low credit. Substandard prime lending, which is always appropriate and respected for any borrower. Well, that's just not true. I don't like it, but the only one I could possibly even tie to something here would be A. I mean, I guess it's predatory if you don't tell them that they qualify for something else, but by no means do I think that's actually a great question. Also, we get what we pay for sometimes. This was AI. Now, it could be that I'm having a mental block and I'm just not seeing the common sense of this. And that happens. I'm not perfect. I might look back at this video and be like, Doug Candace, did you not see this big? This is why the answer is what it is. Um, I mean, the only thing I can think of is this person does not need such high interest rates. That's the only thing I can think of. Will I be right? Only time will tell. All right, Stacy, you said A. Valerie, are you saying D on this one, or was that the last one? I don't know, but I'm going with A. I'm going with A for 112. Good group. Love their music. Let's see if I'm right. Hey, the answer's they. The answer's they. Hey, the answer's they. Do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little. That was good guessing. Good guessing on my part, but I didn't like that question. But you know what? If I was taking this exam and I got that question, I felt pretty strong about most of the other questions. So I'm gonna let it go. I'm not gonna let it shake my confidence. I'm gonna shake it off, right? As uh, Mariah would have said, or Tay Tay. I mean, lots of singers tell us to shake it off, so we're just gonna follow their instructions. All right, 113. A buyer is deciding between two nearly identical homes in the same neighborhood. One listed at $410,000 and a comparable one listed at $395,000 with essentially the same size, condition, and features. Well, I don't have to go any further, but you want me to pay more for the same thing? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna take the 395. Thank you. According to the appraisal principle of substitution, there we go. That's what that is. The idea that people want to pay the lesser amount for the same item. I do. Because if y'all just got money you're throwing out the window, please give it to me. What should a rational buyer be willing to pay? Well, start with that sentence again. According to the appraisal principle of substitution, what should a rational buyer be willing to pay for the more expensive home? They should be willing to pay up to the 395. Why would I be paying more for a house? I don't know. So is it A, whatever the seller initially asked, since list price always reflects true market value? No. Have you met sellers? Once you all get into this business, if you're marketing houses, residential homes, even commercial, sellers are sometimes crazy and they're like, I know my house is worth $450,000, but I'd like to put it on the market for eight. Absolutely not, sir. Don't get me wrong. Buyers will be like, I know the house is marketed for $450,000, but I've got $2 in a dream. Well, I want to own the Taj Mahal. So sometimes dreams don't happen that way. B, is a buyer willing to pay more than the substitute's price since a slightly higher price signals better quality? Nah. Nah, absolutely not. Have y'all gone out to eat lately? I feel like I'm paying for a food that's only meh in quality. I don't care what the price is. C, the average of the two list prices, since that represents fair market value between the comparable options. No. So I'm really hoping our answer D sounds good. No more than the cost of acquiring the equally desirable substitute property, meaning the buyer should not pay more than approximately $395,000 for the similar home. Yeah, now that's what I'm talking about. I like D, and that is, in fact, our answer. Yes. All right. Do you want me to continue? I know I said I go longer, and I don't mind going longer. I don't know how you all are feeling, and I know people on watching via YouTube, there's a little bit of a delay, so I'll wait until at least one person in YouTube lets me know. Stacy, of course, you can let me know, but I just want to make sure. I don't think I've over questioned you all, but you let me know. Do you want me to continue? Stacy says yes. Please continue. Of course, I'll continue. I missed Wednesday. And again, I hope you all saw I posted a new video earlier today. It took me a while. I was busy. But a new video that goes over the 10 federal, not the, but 10 federal laws that you need to know to pass the test. I don't care what state you're in. You need to know those laws that I reviewed. It's like a 45-minute long video to make up for the fact that I missed 2 Wednesdays. So, what y'all got for me? And YouTube land. You want me to continue? I'm assuming it's a yes. Stacy said yes. Do 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 do. Oh, there we go. Valerie said yes. That's all I needed. I just needed 2 yeses. Let's go on. A small retail store has operated legally in a residential zone for 40 years, having existed before the area was rezoned residential only. We know it happened before. It was, hey, at one point, what they were doing was great. It has operated legally for 40 years. And then somebody probably went and changed the laws. A fire destroys 70% of the building. Under most zoning ordinances, can the owner rebuild the store as it was? Well, what we have here is failure to communicate. But that's not what we got there. We got a non-conforming use. There are my other yeses. We have a non-conforming use. We know that that use was, I hate the term, but we use it anyway, grandfathered in. What the person was doing was legal, and then y'all decided to change the rules. So you're going to let me to continue to do this use that was once legal, even though it doesn't match and it's non-conforming now. But what did your teacher say about what if it burns down? Hmm? Do you remember what your teacher said? Now, I know when I'm teaching this, I always teach that if it's burned or destroyed, a hurricane or tornado, usually you're not going to be allowed to rebuild to that unmatching, non-conforming use. Obviously, every situation in here is different. Now, if there's like damage to a window, they're going to let you fix that. And remember, that non-conforming use may not be forever. They might say, we'll let you do and break these rules. You were here for 40 years before. We'll let you do it for another 40 years now that we've changed the rules. But in 40 years, you need to rethink about and evaluate your life. Maybe think about moving. Right. So it's not just a blank check to do whatever you want for as long as you want, how no matter what happens. Usually, if it's destroyed, they're going to say, yeah, about that. Right. And you're not going to do it forever. But let's see, does that match what AI has given us for answer choices? Is it, so remember, can the owner rebuild the store as it was? Is it yes, automatically, because legal non-conforming uses can always be rebuilt exactly as they were, regardless of the extent of damage. I tell you about that word automatically and always. Such a strong word, always. That's not it. We got B, likely not automatically, since many zoning ordinances terminate non-conforming use rights when a structure is destroyed beyond a specified percentage threshold, commonly 50%. All right, that sounds that sounds very specific, but okay, sounds good. I don't have a problem with anything they said there. Yes, but only if the owner first obtains a formal rezoning of the entire surrounding neighborhood. What? One person is going to, I mean, I guess it could happen. It's going to get the whole neighborhood rezoned back to where it was because your property was destroyed. It's not a lifetime movie, Betty. That's not going to happen. Right? Or no, because non-conforming uses become entirely illegal the moment any zoning change occurs, even without damage to the structure. No. The whole point of a non-conforming use is that your use doesn't conform, but we're going to let you continue because it was legal and we don't want to take your livelihood away. So, like a good neighbor, our answer is B, or State Farm is there. B is our answer. All right. Let's roll on to 115. Roll out. Okay. A buyer is purchasing a former gas station property and learns during due diligence that an old underground storage tank was removed decades ago, but soil testing has not been conducted to confirm there was no contamination. What is the most prudent step before closing? A purchaser is a buyer is purchasing a former gas station property and learns that an old underground storage tank was removed, but soil testing hasn't been done. That's a problem. What's the most prudent step to take before closing? Is it A, conduct a phase one, and if warranted, a phase two environmental site assessment to evaluate potential soil or groundwater contamination before finalizing the purchase? I like that answer. You might hear it called an ESA phase one, a phase one ESA, something like that, because that's what they do in real life. If you're getting ready to build something and there could be contamination or you're building something that could affect the environment, they're going to have you do what's called a phase one ESA, and they're going to check out, just do a basic, hey, what's the status going on here? What's this look like? And if it comes back with warnings, then you're going to have to come back and do a phase two if it's needed. But this is very, very common. So I like A. I mean, it's so much, I'm going to give it a little purple right there, but I haven't read the other answers, so not doing for sure. Is it B, skip environmental due diligence entirely, since it is never required for former commercial fuel related properties? This sounds like a bad idea. Why? Because of CERCLA. Remember CERCLA? Don't ask me what that stands for because it stands for a lot. But basically, CERCLA says, oh, there's contamination. Anybody who's ever had anything to do with this property needs to pony up. So if they did find out that even though the underground storage tank was removed and there was contamination, as the new owner, you are just as liable as the person who did it. So yeah, I would not suggest being like, yeah, let's just go, forget about it. YOLO. This is not a YOLO situation. Mm-mm. Let's see C. Assume no further investigation is needed. Well, you know what they say when you assume. Since environmental issues from decades ago cannot create liability today, once again, CERCLA is going to kick your tush. That's a lie. Or D, proceed with the purchase immediately, since removing the tank itself fully eliminates any legal or environmental risk. Absolutely not. I need everybody to take a class on CERCLA. CERCLA says they are all responsible, meaning A is our right answer. So you can see if you want to get involved in this property. 116. Oh, we're back to math. Let's see. Can we still math it up, guys? A real estate team's total commission on a $610,000 home sale is 5%. The team leader keeps 20% of the team's total commission off the top, then splits the remaining equally among the team leader and the two buyer's agents. A three-way even split of what remains. How much does each of the two buyer's agents receive? Okay, that's different. But hey, this is why sometimes people join teams. When you join a team as a new agent, you might get some leads. But if before you join a team, and I know we got to wait for Caroline to come back, before you join a team, remember you already got to split with your broker, and then you got to split with your team leader. And then, okay, if they're giving you leads, are they warm leads where you're pretty sure it's going to, eventually one is going to lead to a closing, or are they cold leads? Like, hey, I was on Zillow and I just saw this house. And also I raise butterflies and have a credit score of 400. Like, why am I paying you for crappy leads? So you just have a lot of questions to ask. I actually like when people get on strong teams. I just want you to know what you're getting into before you do it. So let's do this math. You had a $610,000 sale and it's a 5% commission. That means 610,000 times 5%. That means we've got a $30,500 total commission. And of that 30,000, I'm just going to move this number here. The team lead takes 20% off the top. And then the rest of that 80% gets split some different ways. It's going to 3 different people, right? There's going to be the team lead, and then there's agent 1, and there's agent 2. All right. So we want to take that 30,500 multiplied by 80%, and that's going to tell us how much is being split 3 ways. Okay, so 30,500 times 80%. That means there is $24,400, if I did my math right. That needs to get split 3 ways. So this person gets 33.33%, and the team lead gets 33.33%, and then this agent gets 33.33%. So I'm taking that 24,400, dividing it by 3. And that means each person is going to get $8,133.33. So I think we have that answer choice up there. I mean, they're all the same, but why not? We have the 81.33.33. C would be our final answer. Senorita. Okay, that I just Did I even take my ADHD medicine today? One never knows because I am all over the place. But C is our answer. 117. Let's roll on. Okay. A property has an annual special assessment of $1,095 for neighborhood total road improvements, already paid in full by the seller for the year. The sale closes on August 21st with the buyer taking ownership that day. Using a 365-day year, how much does the buyer owe the seller to reimburse the prepaid assessment for the remaining part of the year? So, it's where we draw our little thingy here. This closing happened on 8/21, which is just the other day, which was my mommy's birthday. Hey, Mom, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Yes, we had a good time. It has been crazy. It has been busy, but okay. So we know the seller who prepaid, they paid in full, they paid for the whole year, but really, they only owe the house from here to here. They paid all of that 1095. But the seller only owned the house during this period. Shouldn't the buyer pay for this part of the year? And the answer is yes. The buyer needs to pay them for August 20. It says August 21st through December 31st. It's telling us the buyer is responsible for August 21st. So that means if we do August, September, October, November, December, it says a 365-day year. December has 31, November has 30, October has 31, September has 30, and then August is 21 through, remember, August has 31. So that would be 11 days, right? Because you got to count the 21st, 21st, 22nd. And I like to do this sometimes 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30, 31. That's 11 days. So this buyer owes for 11 days. How much per day? I'm going to go up here so I have more space. I'm going to take that 1095 divided by 365 days, and that's going to give me $3 a day. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to take that $3 a day. I'm going to multiply it by, oh, did I just say 11 days? Losing my mind. This is 11 days. We're going to add all of these up. 31, 30, 31, 30, 11. I was like, 11 days doesn't sound very much. Candace, pull yourself together. I wish it was 11 days. That's just till the end of the month. It's not 11 days total. So if we add 31 and 30, that's 61, plus 31, that's 92, plus 30, what is that? 122 plus, you know what? That's way too much math for me. 31 plus 30 plus 31 plus 30 plus 11. 133 days. That sounds better. Right? Let's do that one more time. I'll do the right. 11 plus 30 plus 31 plus 30 plus 31. That's going to give me 133 days. That's better. So $3 times 133. I got $399. And that answer is B. We have it here. Yay. Mm-hmm. We did it. We did it. We did it, did it, did it. All right, 118. I think we can get through. Yeah, let's get through the rest of these math problems. We'll call it a night. We'll end on some good math, right? A borrower takes out a $250,000 loan with a fixed monthly principal and interest payment of $1,610 for a 30-year, 360-month term. What is the total amount of interest the borrower will pay over the life of the loan? So I don't even know if I've said this online before, but sometimes when I see these words, that say right here, pay over the life of the loan, I think PTL, pay the loan. And really, it's going to be PTL, where it stands for principal and interest. This is going to be times, and this is going to be loan amount. If you can remember over the life of the loan how much you're going to pay, PTL, you can do this. So, what's the P&I amount? It told us it's 1610. And that's 16,000. Step 1, the P&I, we're good. Then we want to know how many times are you going to pay it? It's a 30-year, 360-month term. So you're going to pay that 360 times. And this times has double duty, so we're going to multiply it. You're going to write checks, if that was still a thing. You're going to write a check for $1,610 360 times, which means we're going to times it. So when we get that answer, 1610 times 360, what we're going to get is $579,600. That's what you paid for the entire life of the loan. However, it's asking us about the interest. How much interest are you borrowing? This is total P&I. And if you take out the total principal you borrowed, what you're going to be left with is the interest, the total interest you paid. So that's where the loan amount comes in. You borrowed $250,000. So we take the $579,600, we subtract $250,000. Yeah, if you've never seen this math before, welcome to This Is Some BS. How much we end up paying in interest? That's going to be $329,600 in interest. You could have bought the house twice. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I don't have the money and I have to borrow it from the bank, should the bank make money off of that? Yes. But I'm paying literally more in interest than I did over the money I actually borrowed to buy the stinking house. That's some BS. BS, I tell you. So, our final answer is going to be D, 329,600. Stacy, I see you getting these answers right with this math consistently. And I know I've said it before, but I am so friggin' proud of you from where you started to where you are now. Getting these answers right, even before I finish them, just makes my little heart sing. All right, number 119. A builder has a $600,000 construction loan, all right, with interest charged only on the amount actually drawn that you borrowed, not the fully committed amount. So when you talk about drawn, it's what you actually borrowed. It's to take a draw means, okay, we'll give you 600,000, but we're not going to give it to you all at once. We'll give it to you in portions. Those portions they're giving you are what you've drawn out of that $600,000 limit. So far, the builder has drawn $350,000 at a 9% interest rate. What is the current monthly interest only payment owed on an outstanding drawn balance? So this is the number we need. Right now, this person has borrowed $350,000 at 9% annual interest. So if we multiply $350,000 times 9%, the total interest you would owe for borrowing $350,000 at 9%, just the interest for a year, 350,000 times 9% gives me $31,500. That's what you owe for a year. But we're looking for a monthly interest only payment. So if it's $31,500 for a year, I can divide that by 12. So 31,500 divided by 12 is equal to, that's $2,625 for this monthly payment. And let's see, do we have that answer choice? We do. We do, by George. Our answer is B. Nice. I bet a lot of people, including myself, if I wasn't slowing down, would have started to go off of that $600,000 amount. But on this test, they love to throw numbers at you that you don't need. Really read to see what it is you're doing. And our last one of the evening, we'll be doing it for about an hour and a half tonight, but I don't mind. I love doing this with you all. A county uses an equalization factor of 1.15 applied to the local assessor's value before calculating property tax. A home has an local assessed value of 180,000 and the tax rate is 2.4% applied to the equalized value. What is the annual property tax bill? This is a fancy way of saying, look, the county said your property is worth $180,000, but we're going to add 15% to that because you all know that 1.15 is equal to 115%. So we are saying, let's up this by 15%. If I take $180,000 and multiply it by 1.15, which is 115%, doesn't matter which number you put in, you're going to get it. 180,000 times 115%. They're telling you that the assessed value, the equalized value, is $207,000. That's not our answer. The tax rate is 2.4% of that. So times 2.4%, and that gave me $4,968, and that would be answer D. That would be our answer of D for number 120. Now, I'm going to choose a different color just to show you. If you forgot or you didn't do that 1.15%, if I took the $180,000 and multiplied it by the 2.4%, that would give us $4,320. And granted, between here and here, we're talking about a $600 difference, but that's for one house. Imagine you take that $600 and you multiply it literally by tens of thousands per house. That is a lot of money the county or the city, in this case, it's the county, that they're not getting for things that we need, like roads and schools and police and fire and all the other services that the county gives us. So that's a lot of money. That equalization factor is important to make sure that the county has the money they need to provide the services they provide. So, with that, boys and girls, that is going to be our final question of the night. My week class is over. I will be back here on Wednesday, just like normal. I will see you then. Yeah, thank you for being so patient. We'll start back up with 121, and I will see y'all on Wednesday. Bye, everybody. Bye bye.